The following is a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network.
Hello again, everybody, and once again, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, presented by the Bank of Billings, established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. It's our Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week segment presented by the Missouri State Highway Patrol. And as always, Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. We go to Licking High School, and we welcome in head coach Chris Harris of the Licking Wildcats and our Athlete of the Week, senior Carson Walker. Coach Harris, thanks for helping set this up today.
Yeah, thank you.
Coach, off to a 10-7 start. Tell us a little bit about just the season for the Wildcats in general.
Oh, well, I mean, we had a great summer and, had a lot of promise coming into the season, and we lost one of our players to an ACL injury, so it kind of changed what we were going to do. And, we've got 3 sophomores starting alongside with Carson and another junior, and really just trying to find, our groove. Early on, we were working hard and just, trying to find out, what we were capable of. And we've had a couple of stretches this season where we've put together a few wins in a row, and that's really built up our confidence. And I think we're moving in the right direction.
As you look around your conference there, tell us a little bit about that, kind of handicap that conference a little bit and the members of it. People are not that familiar with the Frisco League.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about that and where the power is.
Going into the season, we felt we were, towards the top. Dixon is, they were state ranked this week, and they'd beaten us earlier this season, and they were the defending Frisco League champs from last year. They had a 7-0 conference record, so they're the ones on the top that we're chasing after. We're trying to get them, and then there's a lot of teams below us that they're young, but they've got some experienced players. And most nights when you play a conference game, it can be a nail biter, and everybody's out to get everybody, and it can be some pretty fun basketball.
And just a little bit about your background. How long have you been there at Licking, and where'd you come from? Where'd you go to high school, college, and where you cut your teeth, so to speak?
Yeah, I actually graduated from Licking in 2000. I went to college at the Ozarks, got my degree down there, and then I actually spent my first 9 years teaching in Iberia under part of the time under Steve Schofield. Had a couple of back-to-back Final Fours in my time there. And then I left and took another assistant job at North Callaway up in Kingdom City for a year. And then after that, I went to North Shelby in Shelbyville, Missouri. Had my first head coaching stint there for 2 years. We were 500 in 2 years. And then I was trying to get a little bit closer to home, and I took the head coaching job at Crocker. I was there for 3 years, and then I've been in Licking for the last 5. I was the assistant coach for the first 4, and this is my first full year as the head coach.
What's the biggest challenge from going from the seat next to the guy in the seat? Going from the assistant coach to the head coach.
Early on, when I first got my first head coaching job, it was, the challenge of just making sure everything, was running properly in practice, and, the analytics that go along with bus rides and, all those crazy details. But, the guys that I worked with before I became a head coach, they really let me take over and run practices. They let me run, preseason conditioning stuff and weights and skill development stuff in the off season. So they were really teaching me. So when I stepped in, I felt like I was comfortable, and I didn't really have, too many questions, but I can always call those guys up and be like, hey, what would you do in this situation? So I have a pretty good coaching tree that I'm a part of that kind of helped me along the way.
Very good. Again, we're visiting with head coach Chris Harris, Licking Wildcats, and Carson Walker, our Chevy of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week. Coach, tell us a little bit about Carson. I understand he set the single game scoring record there at Licking with 54 points. Was that unexpected, or could you see that coming?
I don't know about breaking the record, but he's had some pretty big games this year. He's spent a lot of time working on his outside shot to go along with his quickness with the ball, getting downhill and getting to the rim. And he's had a couple of games where he'd hit 4 or 5 threes in a game. I think one game he had 4 in a quarter. He's averaging right about 20 points going into that game. And when he gets hot, he can stay pretty hot pretty long. So I didn't realize until probably the midway through the fourth quarter of that game that he was as close as he was. His teammates sure do. They knew he was really close. So they were wanting to get him the ball, and he was able to get it done in the end.
Now, was that in the Alton game?
Yes, that was in the Alton game at the Liberty Legends Shootout.
Okay, outstanding. Well, Carson, first off, on behalf of the Missouri Sports Network and the Missouri State Highway Patrol, congratulations for being named a Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, first off, tell us a little bit about your game. Coach talked about the ability to get to the rim. What are some things that you feel like you're doing really, really well right now?
I've been driving pretty well, getting to the rim that way, but I've been working on trying to get the pull-up midi in there and mostly catch and shoot threes. And I've been trying to avoid the dilly-dally, step back, whatever threes. I'm usually trying to be as set as I can on my three-point shots and go from there.
Tell us a little bit about your varsity experience. When did that first start? Do you remember that first game that you got to play?
I got a little bit here and there my sophomore year. That was mostly garbage time. Didn't really felt like it helped me a lot. Last year is whenever I think it really started for me. I took a secondary backup point guard position for our team, which was a pretty important piece for us. I felt like, and then I ended up going down with an ankle injury last season, and that kind of put me in the more of a shooting guard spot. And I started to shoot the ball a little bit better from the catch and shoot standpoint, and I think that's what really helped me this year a lot.
Carson, what are you doing? Let's say you're playing tonight. What are you doing throughout the day to kind of get mentally and physically prepared? Are you drinking lots of water, or you got special food you eat, or you got? And I'm not sure where this is going, but tell us a little bit about your preparation.
So mandatory Dr. Pepper at lunch, absolute mandatory. And then sneak a little water in there throughout the later hours of the day. I usually really don't like to eat from between lunch and before the game. That just doesn't sit right for me.
What's your go-to meal? What's your favorite meal to on a game day or maybe even the night before?
I really like when I get breakfast the day of our game, like a good healthy eggs, sausage, biscuits, gravy, something along that line. Breakfast is what really sets my day up for success.
Very good. Very good. Are there games, during warm-ups where, I've talked to, and especially, with pitchers at the softball or baseball level, where they're in the bullpen and they're getting loose and they kind of feel like, hey, they're not going to hit me today. Are there games where you're warming up and you really feel like, hey, all my shots are going in? And I've talked to some kids that if their shots are going in pregame, they're not going to hit anything. That if they have kind of a rough pregame, what's that like for you? When are you most confident?
Usually it's about the 3 minutes before the game starts is whenever I can tell if I'm, going to be feeling it or not. Because, the first 15 minutes or whatever, it's really just seeing what's going in. And then those last 3 minutes is really me focusing on, I'm catching, shooting. I'm really trying to focus on, see what's going on, where I'm missing, how I can figure that out. And that's about whenever I can realize if I'm really dialed in that night or not.
Talk about the rivalries, maybe team wise, and maybe even individuals that you have that you really enjoy playing against, or maybe gyms that you enjoy playing in, atmospheres. What are some of your rivals?
I'd say probably our biggest rival is Houston. I actually used to go to Houston, so I know a lot of those kids there, and uh, I I mean if we play them. We've not lost in a while, but uh, I know a lot of those kids. I'm good friends with them, so that's always a fun game to play, no matter what. And I've been really enjoying the loud atmospheres recently. Those really they make me feel pretty tight.
Tell us a little bit about your role on this team. Obviously, to score, but are there other leadership roles outside of that? Maybe even in the classroom or outside the court.
I've been trying, especially more recently. I've been trying to really get these kids involved, and because they're young, I want them to be good and not have to rely on one guy whenever they're seniors, because they might not have that. They're gonna have to, be themselves, and I want them to grow up and be their own players and have their own scoring ability and all that stuff. I wouldn't say I'm a very vocal leader. I've been told that a lot, that I'm not a very vocal leader. I like to just, put my head down and get stuff done. And I hope that they can watch that and learn from that.
Again, visiting with our Chevy dealers of the Ozarks Athlete of the Week, Licking Wildcat, Carson Walker, who set the single game scoring record at Licking with 54 points alongside head coach Chris Harris. Kind of a tough question here, but if you could get in a time machine and go back to that Carson Walker in the 7th and 8th grade and give that young man some advice based on what you know now, what advice would you go back and give that young man?
Man, I don't know. He probably keeps shooting the ball. I shot the ball a lot in those years, but I definitely tell him the to work hard, work on that shot, that outside shot, because that was a struggle for me back then, and keep that grind mindset that I've had, and stick to it all the time. I was definitely there my earlier years. I'll say I've kind of regressed in that mindset, I guess. I haven't been as committed as I once was, which kind of bothers me sometimes. But I think I'm starting to get back there as I'm going on along.
Very good. What now? You're a senior. Have you made any plans for next year?
Not really. No, I'm kind of just going with the flow, with whatever.
Are you planning on attending college?
Yeah, I'm gonna be going to college for something. I think I might look into some sports medicine stuff like that. But athletic wise, I haven't really made any plans there.
All right. All right. What is your least favorite chore to do at home?
Probably put the dishes up. It's just so time consuming, really annoying. Laundry sucks.
What
Oh,
what's your least favorite vegetable to eat?
I'd say probably something like cabbage. I haven't had that. I'm not really picky of an eater, really.
All right. Very good. Very good. And once again, on behalf of Chevy of the Ozarks on the Missouri State Highway Patrol, congratulations on being named an athlete of the week with 54 points. Did you know in the game you were getting that close?
Honestly, I had no idea what the record was. I knew at like halftime, I was at 23, and I was joking with some of the kids. I was like, I mean, I'm gonna shoot for 50, but I just don't think I'm gonna get it. But sure enough, they kept finding me with good shots. They were moving the ball well and getting me open, and it just ended up working out like that. And I didn't know what it was. I knew I missed a free throw on a 3-point shot. I missed one of my free throws in the middle, and I heard sighs all across the gym. And I knew that that's whenever I messed up, but then I got another chance and made the best of it.
Very good. Do you now know who held the record and what it was?
I knew who held it. I just didn't know the exact number. I knew it was around 50. We had a kid, Wilson Murray, a few years ago, drop 51, and I knew that he was really close, but I did not know what it was at all. But I could kind of tell with the crowd going on is kind of how I inferred what it was.
How who was the first person you heard from that was not at the game? Who maybe texted you or called you and congratulated you? Who was the first one you heard from?
I don't even know. My phone blew up pretty bad. I had some of my friends from Houston and around that we've played before have all let me know. I had my uncle. He keeps up with a lot of the stuff. He's kind of been a mentor in a way too. He always wants to talk to me after the games and, hey, you could have done this better. This is what you need to do, blah, 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 like that. And I've heard from him, not at the game, was probably him or some of my friends. It moved pretty fast.
All right. Well, I have one question left for both of you. Just signal by raising your hand. I am a mandated reporter for the Missouri State Highway Patrol. And the question is, do you always wear your seatbelt?
Always.
I always do.
All right. Very good. Once again, Coach Harris, thanks so much for helping set this up. And Carson, congratulations. And we'll take a quick time out and more upcoming right here on the Missouri Sports Network, where everyone has a home field advantage.
Things are a little tight for Terrence right now. But they won't be for long, because Central Bank makes it easier for customers like Terrence to dream bigger.
More room would be nice.
With mortgage solutions that can open the door to more space.
That's what I'm talking about.
For his growing family.
Growing family?
Honey, guess what?
You got this, buddy.
Unplug and unlock. Road trips on easy mode. And a really big touchscreen for the biggest jams. And qualify for up to $7,500 in tax credit with the Equinox EV. Unlock the tech and the value. With the 2025 Equinox EV, America's most affordable over 315-mile range EV. And Chevrolet, together let's drive.